at 11:15 Irish time. Japan v South Africa, a repeat of the Brighton Miracle.
Only this time it'll be the Tokyo Miracle.
It
It is
would be.
in Tokyo. Japan are the host side. They are also the side that topped their group. It is Japan versus South Africa.
Not the other way
as
around.
opposed to the other way around. Refereed by Wayne Barnes. That's fine for both, I think.
Probably the form ref in the comp. Do you know what? Do you know who might disadvantage is the Japanese a little bit at breakdown time because he's fastidious for certain things, but then maybe not. I don't know.
Both sides are at it.
Both sides are at it. It's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a colourful game. As you said, it's actually 1-1 because we had the Brighton Miracle 4 years ago, and then Razzie made sure that his schedule was such that they were touching down early in Japan to take them on before the tournament started, and they got that win back. Very impressive fashion. Managed to hold what has been a near irresistible Japanese offense to a sole try in that game. Wrapped them up very well, prevented the offload, brought them to deck, imposed their physicality. The image is definitely the same for this. That's the picture they'll want to be painting. But they'll be aware that Japan, as far as emotional pitch, will be at a higher level than they were on that day. It's definitely with a weight of expectation now that they've topped their pool, unbeaten coming into this. It's a fantastic tournament from Japan.
It's also shackles loose. No matter what happens, it's been a great performance.
This
from
is
Japan.
true. Yeah. They've already achieved what they set out to achieve in terms of like everything. It's gone so well.
Detract a little from their focus, but also take the pressure off them.
Yeah,
like everyone's going to be watching, but in a funny kind of a way, there isn't the same pressure on them that there was last week.
Yeah, or even that we saw a bit of pressure in the kickoff in the Russia game. Game 1 where they were the only game. It was the first game. It was their World Cup, and you saw the nerves and you saw it in their play. Probably less so this time, even though it is the biggest game of their history.
When you're David against Goliath, you tend not to have much pressure on you. In terms of how they're going to defend what the Springboks bring, I mean, initially what the Springboks are looking at is quite a bit off faff, quite a bit of forward carries, and that's where they got their initial advantage up against the Japanese pre-tournament. Just Etzebeth around the corner, Vermeulen around the corner, Malcolm Marks around the corner, Stephen Kitsoff around the corner. The whole blooming pack are marauding, savage ball carriers.
Yes.
So it's a difficult picture to start with. What the Japanese need to do is tackle those guys low, take down the Godzillas around the legs. Get in, spoil the breakdown, make it slow. Then if you can achieve that, if you can limit the amount of gain line that those big South African forwards are going to get, then all of a sudden the South African offence becomes a little less elite. The distribution game of Villy Leroux has been lacking.
Definitely.
And all of a sudden you can get them into a place where they're going to be kicking the ball a bit.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they want. Now, South Africans do kick well. Pollard will put some bombs up there. There'll be challenges that Japan haven't quite dealt with for the likes of Matsushima and Tupou at fullback.
For sure.
And Fukuoka on the left wing. I mean, like, that's still a scary game. They have to deal with those high balls, and then when they get the ball, all bets are off. But in terms of defence, it's a relatively simple plan. Stop them at source with low chop tackles, get in the breakdown, slow it up, the Boks will kick, and then deal with the kicks like they haven't been.
Yes. Well, they haven't been dealing with the kicks, but no team has managed to put up a sustained challenge to them in that area. I'm not entirely sure why. Probably a bit of grievance for both Scotland and Ireland are big ones you're thinking of, because like every time they did go to the air, the Japanese did reveal a little bit of an area of weakness under that high ball, and yet no one persisted with it as a tactic. I'm wondering if the Springboks will, because the Springboks, as good as they are in every department, they are vertically challenged in the backfield. They're not actually high ball experts really, but at the same time I feel like you need to challenge the Japanese in that area, and Pollard has an excellent bomb on him.
Pollard has an excellent ball. Cheslin Colby is
he's good. He's very fine in the air.
He's the very top of the top in the air. Like he could beat Liam Williams in the air.
Potential.
No, he could get 50-50 off against Liam Williams. He's that good. He's phenomenal. Like, maybe he should be fullback.
Maybe he should.
But so I think the bombs are one avenue that the Springboks will go to. I think they'll initially look to get that power game going. But a big question for the Boks is, what do they do when Japan has the ball? I think one of the crucial factors in what happened pre-tournament, and one of the most colourful aspects to this, is the Springbok defense being, I think, probably on balance the best defense in the game at the moment.
Seemingly, that outside to in rush with Am pulling the strings basically is awesome.
Am directing everything that goes on, certainly off first and third phase. Like when it comes back against the grain, it can be a little soft, and that's where they rely on the back rowers to get out and make the plays. But when Lecanio Am is partnered with Delindy, which is the shape that Japan are trying to get around a lot of the time. They become very, very difficult to get around. But Japan, by contrast, have one of the best offenses in the whole world.
And one of the best offensive 13s in Lafayette, as opposed to a defensive 13 in Am, who's an expert at that. A wonderful soft touch, lovely creative kicker and passer of a ball, just a pure distributor at 13 in Lafayette, who provides a link with those devastating wingers to their rather remarkable halfback pairing as well in Tamura and Nagari, who's been awesome, and then Tanaka off the bench as well. The pace that their halfbacks put on the ball is excellent, and then the link that Lafayette provides with Tamura.
Lafayette is the key to the wide channels. His getting his hands free is vital, and Lucanio Am tends to shoot really, really well on guys and give them not even a half a second to make a pass. And then dominant hits. Once he sticks the tackle, he wraps his arms and he drives guys back, and he completes tackles so well. So that is a phenomenal battle between an offensive weapon and a defensive genius in Lucanio Am versus Lafayette. And there was only one winner pre-tournament when they played, and that was Am. And it's actually a little microcosm for the wider picture of the game, because Japan, right back from the PNC this year, looked to put a load of pace on the game. Breakdowns don't suit them. I mean, they treat breakdowns like the meaning of the actual term. The play has broken down. We must start again. Like, they want to keep the ball alive. They want to keep it moving. They want to find the space. And so when the ball is approaching the breakdown, very often they'll just offload it back to 9 and we'll go again. We don't need a breakdown. We'll just go again. Set from start of plays. But one of the things that the Springboks did is, after the contact, they trapped the ball and drove, and they were driving the Japanese way back behind the gain line. They weren't allowing them to get their hands free, and they were shutting down the Japanese offense. Essentially, it just completely shut down the Japanese offense pre-tournament, which is the first and only time all year that we've seen anything like that happen.
Indeed.
So it'll be curious to see whether they can do it again. The plan is very simple. They are immensely physical, built for rugby type of men, and they're defending with an organisation and a physicality that is daunting for any offence.
Indeed. But that being said, the space that they leave is in that wide tramline channel, and those are the two most devastating weapons Japan have. There's Matsushima and Fukuoka on either side.
Two of the most devastating weapons in the game of rugby.
It's true, and should they get outside them, I don't see any other outcome than a Japanese try. If they do get outside that channel, which is shut down most of the time, which is why the performance of the likes of Michael Leach, who does tend to linger in those areas, will be key. Because if Lafayette can even get it free enough to get Leach into the game, or if we can opt for Leach to carry into Am and then go again and isolate, if you can get Am on the deck and then go, which they did very well against Ireland. They targeted the two centres in one for that try they ended up getting. They committed both Farrell and was it Aki or Ringrose? I think it was Aki that game.
I think it was Gary Ringrose.
Oh no, it was Gary Ringrose and Farrell. They ran betwixt the two of them, and then the next phase found the try. They'll have to do something similar if they can recognise that Am is such a fulcrum to that line. You may want to try and send a carrier his way first and then isolate.
The thing that the Boks have though is that Am is actually, like, as well as being a physical presence, he might be the smartest player in the game.
He's up there.
He's very good at leaving it. Like, he'll shoot out of a line and then he's like, oh, they're going inside. My inside man, Damian Delindi, will take this one. Thank you very much. Like, he won't, like, he knows what space he's covering and he knows what threats he's covering, and then if he's being moved away from that, he will delegate. So he doesn't like bull rush to a tackle.
No,
because he's a defensive player. He's very much aware of what his role is, and he's aware of what the inside man's role is. So even if he's in the position to get someone and they move to his inside, he's going to be like, Damien,
smash this man. That's where the matchup is bad for the Japanese. The fact that you'll steer clear of Am only to run into Delindi, who is a brick wall for all intents and purposes. If you're a Japanese runner of a football, that's just a brick wall that you're running into. Indeed, so like it's definitely physically a matchup that's interesting. I'm also wondering, at scrum time they put on a clinic against Ireland, but it was like also like you branded it a drive-by shooting, where it was like Cian Healy this, Cian Healy that. And no, we're going to actually target Tig Furlong instead, which was wonderful.
Just a subtle little illegal play that caught Ireland with the pants down, where they just took a step to the left, hooker and loose head's weight on Tig, and and
conversely then Cian Healy's weight pretty much out of the scrum.
Almost out of the scrum, going, what's going on in there? And then Tig's like, oh Jesus, I'm dead. And Ireland with them.
But they did have basically 2 years to prep that game. I wonder, have they something similar for the Springboks? I kind of suspect no. I suspect that probably this was always the sum of their ambition so far. So this is kind of a let's throw everything at it now.
Yeah.
But they will be looking at tape this week and trying to figure out some weaknesses. I wonder if they can get anything off.
The great thing about Japan's play, like there's no question that the victory against Ireland was a coaching masterclass before it was anything else in my mind. But Japan play such a brand of rugby that even without that behind them, if they're just playing footy, if they're given space, if they're given time, they'll find tries. That said, the matchup for this game isn't great for them. The Springboks were my favourites going into it, are the strongest squad perhaps in the competition. Our giant men defend really, really well, actually have an offence that could be about to take. They're ridiculously physical. Japan, as was pointed out, we were on Modern Boks stream this afternoon. We pointed out that Japan have played basically the same team for the whole tournament.
It's very true.
Like some Michael Leach has a lot of minutes under his belt, and you would wonder how they'll fare after 60 minutes of big Springbok.
It's still rude to call them a tier 2 side now that they've qualified. They've ousted Scotland. They've qualified for the home thing. It's kind of becoming rude to persist with that. But one area that you notice the difference between these two teams is the Springboks have rotated their squad. They have a formidable squad that they couldn't conceivably pick 15 players and have it not be a good team from their 31, whereas Japan are certainly a bit less confident than that.
Here's what happens once the 50-minute mark, if this is a tight game, once the 50-minute mark arrives, on will trot a fresh Beast Mtawira, a fresh Bongi Mbanambi, a fresh Vincent Koch, a fresh Orga Snyman. Who's going to be covering that back row. Oh, just Francois Lowe. Just Francois Lowe. Herschel Yankees, one of the form scrum halves in the world right now, is going to be coming on to dance. And then it gets a little goofy in the back line with Francois Steyn, but perhaps Sabu Nkosi, in the absence of Jesse Creel, who was another absolute weapon. So that bench is a big difference maker, and that's a worrying sign if you're Japan. Definitely. And you're already struggling. And
that being said, Japan have been bringing some play, some hustle off the bench themselves. Certainly,
they have.
Loosehead, remind me.
Oh my God!
He's worth looking up because he has been
player.
Awesome. Awesome off the bench, and it's like they have got some serious impact. Even Lemeki now, who's
Nakajima, I think.
Nakajima, it is.
I'm just Nakajima. Sure, he's off. The blonde replacement Loosehead is just a phenomenal player.
He gets stuck into breakdowns, flies around and makes tackles, slots in at first receiver. He's a bit of a weapon off the bench too. So Japan are no mugs in that area. They're definitely an elite team, and they have home advantage. They're conditioned for this, so they will be throwing everything at it. And the Springboks will not be taking them lightly. The Springboks have very real memories of being embarrassed by this fixture before, and they'll want desperately, as Razzie has said, for there to be no sequel to that Brighton Miracle movie that we've had. It is I think within their control. I expect that class will tell. Just the fact that we saw that picture beforehand just before the tournament, couple that with the emotional high that Japan will have been at to get up to that level again.
That All Blacks performance against them in the opening day, that like little 10-minute window where they were just unreal, the All Blacks, has sort of fooled a lot of casual fans into dismissing the Springboks as a side that are a lot worse than they actually are. They might be the best rugby team in the world. Like, I certainly think
they're up there.
I think they're up there. I think
they also have, like, if they get through this Japan game, it's either Wales or France, which is a game I'd fancy them winning. Either one.
The 2007 run nicely, doesn't it? Like a tier 2 side that have already achieved greatness in the quarterfinals. They played Fiji in the quarterfinal in 2007. They then played Argentina in the semi-final. They would be Wales. It would be another team that is a great side, but not a World Cup semi-final regular. Negotiated their way through that, and then they were in a final which they duly won. That it has a familiar looking run to it if you're a Springbok fan. It does. The
final, if it's to follow that though, the final would be against New Zealand rather than the England side.
England.
Oh, England was there.
It was England in 2007.
It was
after New Zealand went out,
but after they had already whooped England in that pool stage, which is that's where the parallel probably falls down, because they lost that game to the All Blacks.
And the tier 2 side topped their group. That's incredible. But the Springboks are still very, very much in the hunt, and I suspect their physicality, I suspect a wee bit of smarts, and their defence will prove too much for what is a very robust, but still, even in their very impressive performances against Ireland and Scotland, they didn't play a side that is playing on the level that the Springboks play, if we're being honest.
That's true. Yeah,
and, I think they're still want to be, if not shocked, just beaten by that level of rugby.
Hopefully not shocked though, and I think they've shown
I
enough.
suspect not shocked. They're a class team. They will score one or two class tries.
So I expect some hairy moments from the Springboks, but I'd be inclined to agree with you. I'm thinking they will probably get it done, likely by around a 10-point margin.
Yeah, exactly. Just as they did against Fiji, because in that game against Fiji, it was like 20-all after 60 minutes. Because they're a class side, and Japan are a class side, they can get some things off. Yeah. But ultimately, I think the Boks, with their smarts
and with that bench that we just described as well, it's all, I think, ultimately the intangibles and the tangibles are slightly in the Boks' favour.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. But what a great game! And
absolutely. And
never say never. Japan could win it. Yeah. Japan could win it. Every single one of these teams, make no mistake about it, could win these games. The predictions are merely for colour.
They are.
I mean, we're describing basically the way that each side can win the game. France can beat Wales, but Wales, probably more likely to do it. Are probably more likely, but can definitely beat France. But France can beat Wales. Wales can beat France. Japan can beat South Africa.
They can.
South Africa can definitely beat Japan.
Yeah.
Ireland can beat the All Blacks. The All Blacks can definitely beat Ireland. Mm-hmm. And
England, Australia, they will beat each other for all time.
It is true. It is true. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So these are just 4 awesome games. This is almost the pinnacle of 4 years of great rugby is this quarterfinal weekend where you get 4 games between 8 awesome sides. Yeah. It is mouth-watering to say the least, and I am dying of excitement for it. I wish the week would end so I could sit down and watch it.
Yes.
Thank you so much for watching that video. If you want to catch the rest of our Overlap Rugby podcast World Cup content, please subscribe down below and comment as well. We love to hear the chat in the comments, and ring that bell so you get notified for all our new videos. Thanks.